Good morning to you this morning. Let's flip this around. I would apologize this morning for coming in a little bit late, but I decided to do things a little bit differently today. So forgive me, I needed some quiet time this morning before I actually jumped online. Giving you a little bit of, see if we can get this camera stand up. Decided to take some quiet time before I came on for my scope this morning. Today we are at day 18 of this miracle morning journey. And normally I would wake up, brush my teeth, and get dressed, drink some water, and then come in and start scoping. This morning, my brain was just active as soon as I got out of bed. So I decided that I was going to do something a little bit different this morning and just spend some time in quiet just to deal with my thoughts this morning and move them out of the way so I could be a little bit more honed in when I actually got online. So finally here. In any case, wanted to continue in the vein we've been in for the past 2 days. So here we are, day number 3 of it. Stinking Cute. Oh, that's a good name. Welcome to the broadcast. As you join, definitely let me know where you're actually joining from, what part of the world you're coming in live from. We've had people from Russia and other places, so I always love to see where people are actually tuning in from. Colorado, Stinking Cute. What part of Colorado are you coming in from? We were going to continue on. I was going to go into subject 1. I think it's the simplest one to talk about as far as it deals with retirement, and that is pension plans. Nothing really exciting about a pension plan, let me tell you, especially when your career was based in pension plans. As a matter of fact, that's what I did for years, more than a decade, probably around 15 years out of the years I was in corporate America. And it never became exciting. I can promise you that. It's just rules and regulations, calculations, and, averaging this, averaging that, multiplying numbers together. Not a lot of excitement. I always used to say I could teach someone from high school to come in and do my job and do it well. And, I still think I can do it. I could probably fill my consulting company right now with high schoolers who are interested in the subject and let them go to work and be very successful with them doing that. Of course, getting a teenager excited about pension would probably be another challenge. In any case, I'm digressing a little bit here. For those who've never tuned in to anyone in my scopes before, welcome. My name is Kofi Ford. I'm coming to you live just outside of Atlanta, Georgia. Here we are again. It's day 18. Arcogris, welcome. I actually tried to look at one of your scopes today, and I think I jumped onto it a little bit too late because it had just disappeared potentially. But welcome to the scope. In any case, jumping right back in, we're talking about the wonderful, glorious world of pension plans. And I can tell you, there are all kinds of designs. I don't know which one you have. Usually, if you're in a union plan, they take the number of years you work, and they multiply it by some fixed number, $10, $11, $15, whatever the number is. And that's the amount of money that you would receive every month for the rest of your life. Appreciate you sharing this out. Excuse me. Sharing this out with your friends, and always love the hearts. In any case, so here we are. We're talking about welcome to the scope. As you continue to join, definitely share with me where in the world you're joining me from. I'd love to send you a shout out. So again, we're talking about welcome. Hello, Diva Glam Mob. Love it. So here we are talking about the subject of pension plans. And I hope it doesn't bore you too much, but I think it's something that everybody should know. Those who still have the pension plan anyway. Massachusetts, which part of Massachusetts? At least, for as you move to that point in your life, and you're deciding that you're going to retire. Pension plan is one of those pieces that your company is just giving you for free, so to speak. At least nowadays, it's free if you came in before they actually froze it. I see we got some friends online. Awesome stuff. But here we are talking about it. Let's go ahead and move forward with it. So we're talking about union plans. It's usually your service time, some flat dollar figure. If you're fortunate enough to be a salaried employee, they'll usually take the average of your income either over the course of your career or the last 10 years of your career and average the highest 5 years. That's going to be how they base your actual benefit. They multiply it by some percentage, not giving you all your salary. That percentage could be 1%, it can be 5%, whatever the case may be, and then they'll multiply it by the years of service that you've actually had with the company. Sometimes companies will cap that at 30 years, at 35 years, so you're never going to get an amount that's going to let you retire rich. It's amazing what companies do in pension plans. Hopefully you're taking a look at them. They always send out what's called a summary plan description. Take a look at it. It's really going to share with you. I've written a few of these as I worked in corporate America. They really share with you exactly what your benefit's going to look like. Donald W., welcome to the scope. And it's very important that you understand what it means for you. Why? Well, as you go through your career, if you know that your salary, the average of that salary is going to come into play for your pension, well, it behooves you to ensure that you get the best salary possible, of course. If they're taking an average over the last 10 years, when that raise come around and they say it's only going to be 1%, well, if you know what the market's doing at your position, you can negotiate, go in and have a conversation as to why that salary should be higher for you, what you've contributed over the years, how loyal you've been to the company, whatever the case may be. But you can go in and have that conversation to ensure your salary is as high as possible. You can even negotiate other things. You can negotiate that there's extra consideration thrown in for your years of service. There are all kinds of things that you can do. Most importantly, though, is on the salary side of things. So definitely make sure that you're being compensated aggressively as you move forward in your career and fairly. Frankly, I think I mentioned 2 days ago going out and taking a look at the 10K. And if you haven't looked at your 10K for your company, if it's a private company, I think I'm going to bring up one tomorrow in the scope and let you see for yourselves what's happening at the executive level. Whereas you may be getting 1% a year, or maybe you're really rolling in the dough and you got 3% this past year, and your bonus was supposed to be 10% of your income. They gave you about 75% of that. It's not really any kind of comparison to what's happening at the executive level. Then the 10K, as I mentioned before to you, it's got to be filed with the IRS, and it shows the incomes and all the perks for the highest paid employees within the company. Now, those employees are not going to be the folks next to you. They're going to be the CEO, the president, CFO, and all the other C-level employees within the company. So I definitely think it would be helpful if I showed you that, and it may help you feel a little bit different about going in and having that conversation about your raise. We're probably at the point of the year where those conversations potentially may be happening for you. I don't know if Christmas bonuses are coming around. I don't know if they've moved everything up to February and April to get away from paying you a bonus at Christmas time. I don't know. But it's definitely something you need to know. In terms of the pension plan, you don't have a whole lot of control outside of that on what your benefit will be. But what's going to be important to you is when you actually retire, you're going to have options that are given to you. And those options are going to be some type of life annuity where they pay you the same amount of money every single month. Big boy 67, welcome. They pay you the same exact amount of money every single month until you pass away. You're going to have options on a joint and survivor where a portion of that benefit, welcome Jeannie ZT, welcome. A portion of the amount you receive for your lifetime, should you pass away first, will 50%, 75% of that, or that same exact amount will go to your spouse. You've also got level income annuities where they say, okay, we'll pay you more than your normal amount But once you hit, Social Security retirement age, we're going to decrease our benefit and allow Social Security to make up the difference. Now, why are all these options so important? Of course, everybody's scenario is different. If you're married, I think the standard option you have to take is called a 50% joint and survivor, where you work. Let's say your benefit is $1,000 a month, and once you pass away, half of that benefit would go to your spouse. They did this because back in the day, there were some unscrupulous people who were married to folks, and they would take an annuity, and then they would pass, and their spouse would get nothing. So back in the days, especially when men worked only, you got a man who would retire, and he would take his pension, and he would get $1,000 every month, and then he would die a few years later. Let's say he had a tragic accident or something, and then all of a sudden his wife had nothing, and what was she supposed to do at that point? So they changed the rules. They put in the standard was a 50% joint and survivor, and to change that option, guess what? You got to get your spouse to sign before you can change that. I think it's a great rule that they put in place, and it's amazing. Even in my career, you would think in the 2000 age that men wouldn't continue to do this. Oh yeah, it still happens, guys. Try to get around that 50% joint and survivor. Hopefully we don't have any of those online right now. So that's a joint and survivor. There's some other joints where, with any case, if you have any type of pensioner who retires and their spouse dies, they'll reduce the ongoing pension of the ongoing amount the same way. So let's say you're retiring, you choose a true 50% joint and survivor. You're receiving $1,000 a month and your spouse dies. Well, guess what? They reduce your pension down to half. So it depends on what the options are. Know what those options are. Have a conversation about that before you actually select an option. I always tell folks, if you have the option, if your plan allows you to get a lump sum, I hope you're hearing this part. If you didn't hear anything else in the scope, if you hear this part right here, if your plan offers any type of lump sum, take it. Especially if the interest rates right now are low. Oh my goodness. It means that your lump sum is going to be high. And the lower the actual interest rates, the better the lump sum amounts are going to be. So definitely have that conversation. Look at your lump sum options. Here's why I say take the lump sum. Especially if you're good with handling your money or allowing yourself to take that money out over time. If you take that lump sum, you have now the option of rolling the money over into some type of retirement account. I talked the other day about a self-directed retirement account. That's what I would recommend. You take all those proceeds and immediately roll them over into a self-directed IRA. Then I would recommend taking maybe 4% of that money in your first year and just spreading it out over the course of the 12-month period of time. So you take the lump sum, you put it in the self-directed IRA, you get the amount of money out that you need to live for the year, but now that money continues to grow with interest. Instead of someone deciding how your money is going to grow and paying you a flat amount from that every month, you take that money, you put it in an account, and now you have the ability to invest those funds and grow them. Of course, everything's at risk. Yes, it's out there potentially for loss, but you can hedge that by diversifying if you're in the market, or where I think the money makes the most sense of going is putting it into real estate. Yes, you can do that with a self-directed IRA account. You cannot do that with any other type of IRA account. Doesn't matter if it's Roth or a regular IRA, a traditional IRA. Doesn't matter. Self-directed IRAs, however, allow you to take that, put it in the stock market. Yeah, you can buy a bunch of stock and live off the dividends there. That's what the wealthy do. You can also invest in real estate, which is also what the wealthy do. You put that money, especially, it's Lonnie, welcome, especially where you have investments coming into the area. You have the ability now to lend that money. Love to see where you're coming in and tuning in from, Lonnie. You have the ability now to take that money, find projects that are going on, invested in those projects, and now instead of, over the course of a year making about 4%, 5%. Atlanta, I'm actually out of Atlanta as well. Welcome, Lonnie. Good morning. You're almost a neighbor. You have now the ability, instead of growing that money a few percentage points over the course of the year, you now have the ability to maybe earn 5% in 3 months. Maybe 10%, 12% over the course of the year, as well as some upfront cash, maybe 2% of the value that you lend right off the bat. Absolutely the fastest way right now to grow that income, unless you got a hot stock pick that you can get in right off the bat. So it's absolutely, in my opinion, no question as to what you should do. So yeah, you've got plenty of options when you retire from a pension plan. You've got your regular annuities, you got your joint and survivors, you got your level incomes. I always say stay away from the level income options. They don't make sense to me. For a couple of years you get a little bit more money while you're younger, but then that money could go to zero from the pension plan, where all you have is Social Security. I definitely say stay away from that option. But again, if there is a lump sum option, take it. Invest your money. I'm going to talk another day about options on the self-directed IRA side of things. And we're going to talk about 401ks here as well, give you a little bit a clue on 401k plans, and really how it's your responsibility at that point to make sure that you are doing what you need to do for retirement. Companies are no longer going to, in essence, take care of you when you retire from them. Yes, thank you for all your service. We appreciate your years of employment. But your retirement now is on you. It's a complete shift in the market. You'll see the same thing happening for your health care benefits. Companies are really putting it back on you. Why? Especially if they're public. Their responsibility is not really to you. A company's responsibility first is to its shareholders. Know that. Yes, they will pay you a paycheck, but know that you're also a liability on their account statement. So they've got to keep your income low. So your salary is going to be as low as they possibly can. They want to be as fair as possible and be competitive, but they don't want to pay you more than they need to. Here's some proof to that. And I'm going to be wrapping up this scope. Here's some proof to it, though. They always say don't share your salary with the people you work with. Why? Why would they want you not to share your salary? Think about it. If everyone knew what everyone else was making, you would know if you're being underpaid. So you're sitting there, you've been working for 10 years, someone new comes over, they got maybe a couple years of experience, and they did a great job of negotiating up front their salary. Welcome, Deborah Fowl. Welcome. They do a phenomenal job up front of negotiating their salary. So they're making more than you are. You've been there for 10 years. They got only 2 years of experience. They're making more than you. And all of a sudden, you don't even know now that you're not being compensated fairly. I hear you. In terms of understanding income, I think this is one of the most valuable things you've got to know. But so, how do you know now that that's the case? How do you know if you're not being compensated fairly by the employer? So what they do is they make sure that no one talks about their salaries, and they can continue to have incomes all over the place. At least know in your role what the ranges are for your position. And I think that's a minimum education you need to have, so that way you can know if you're at the bottom, you're in the middle, or you're at the top end of the scale. Very important as you continue forward in your career. Hopefully that helps somebody as you move forward. And when you go into that next salary conversation, you can have an intelligent conversation and speak to why you believe that you're worth more. So I think a few things come out of this scope this morning. The options available to you from a pension plan when you retire. The option, if it's a lump sum, that you should take it, and then what you can do with that income. I'll continue to talk about the self-directed IRAs in the future, and then also a couple other things I didn't expect, but talking about salary and ensuring that one, the range of salaries for the position that you're working in for your company, as well as having the conversation come review time to ensure that you're being compensated fairly. Hopefully, again, that helped somebody this morning to go to the job. I'm actually on every single day. I love to see you joining me every single day. We talk to people every morning about their jobs, and I'll probably jump on a couple times periodically throughout the day as I walk to my office downstairs. But I've got to move on with my miracle morning process here. I have my quiet time, and I got to go and do some meditation and get my exercise on. Maybe like you, I don't know if you did this, but Thanksgiving came around, and I certainly enjoyed myself. So I am going to, hey, Deborah, welcome. Hadn't seen you in a couple of days. So I definitely got to make sure I go down and work off some of the extra calories that I consumed, which were totally unnecessary, but I can tell you they were well enjoyed. So I'm going to move forward. I hope everyone has a phenomenal day. You can find some more potential financial help on my website at KofiForwardOnline.com. Shalom to you as well, Deborah Fowl. Peace to you today. You can also find some things on my Facebook page at facebook.com/KofiForward. But appreciate all the hearts today. Definitely share this scope with your friends, family, relatives, those you care about. Hopefully there were some good things on here that you can take and utilize and start to make a plan for as you move forward in your career. And I will continue to share some of these things with you. I'll try to find a good 10K to bring to the scope tomorrow morning. Maybe I'll scope during the day about this one because I think, again, it's valuable information for you to have. Welcome, Drive Angela. You joined just as I'm wrapping up, but definitely hope you watch the replay so that you get some of this good information I think that came out today. But from this end of the world, Atlanta, Georgia, I'm going to go ahead and sign out and get my morning miracle process back underway. And I hope that everyone has an absolutely phenomenal day. You make the decision of whether or not it will be now, and everything will line up to make sure that it happens. Take care, and I'll see you on the next scope.